Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome everybody to the post-match press conference with Mr. Roberto Martinez, head coach of national team of Belgium. Before we start, I would like to remind you that there is simultaneous translation into 4 languages. Just select your language, channel 1 English, channel 2 Russian, channel 3 French, and channel 4 Dutch. Please use one of those languages for your questions, and as you know, when you ask a question, announce your name, the organization you work for, and also let us know which language you are going to use. Wait for the microphone. Now we are going into your questions immediately, and please, the microphone here in the middle. Thank you.
Ludo van der Wallen voor het Nieuwsblad in België. Congratulations with the victory, Roberto. But honestly, are you happy?
Well, honestly, I am delighted, just in the manner of the performance. Remember, we made 9 changes. In international football, that's just almost a desperate call to see a loose team with no synchronization, with no understanding of what we're trying to do. And I didn't see that at all. I saw a group of players that they're desperate to contribute. I don't think that in the World Cup you can be successful by trying to hope to get an easy path. We saw it in the Euros 2 years ago. I think what you need to try is to create a group that everyone is in sync, that everyone is desperate to contribute, to perform for each other. And then we got many positives today. Remember, we had to make big medical calls, as you know, back in announcing the squad. We saw Thomas Vermaelen now ready after the group phase to compete for his place. It looked like that he's never been away. Vincent Kompany playing 20 minutes in a competitive game in the World Cup. We've seen a team that he cope really well with the threat of that ball situations of England, that it doesn't matter what players you're going to have on the pitch. It's probably the nation that it works harder in this aspect, and we kept a clean sheet from that. I thought in our staff, Graham Jones has done a great job. And then every player, from Torgan Hazard playing in a different position, to Marouane Fellaini, to Adnan Januzaj showing why he's in the squad, for us is a big amount of positives. Now we need to focus on Japan. England will play Colombia. And if you start thinking any further than that, I think you're risking a lot.
Just a second, please, and yeah, now let's go.
Lee Cormish here from Post Media Canada. Mr. Martinez, I'm going to ask in English. I'm sure you're tired of hearing the term golden generation, but it cannot be ignored. What kind of pressure comes with finding success with this Belgian side now in this World Cup?
Well, I think it's a very good example today. The so-called golden generation, they weren't playing today. It was only a few, and they were young players that they showed that they're ready to contribute into that golden new generation. Remember that we are a country of 11 million, and we keep producing players like Yuri Tillemans today at the age of 21 to make his World Cup full start and performing in the manner that he did. Adnan Januzaj, young players that they come into an environment that is very different to the one that they used to at club level. And that was pleasing. It shows you that the team now, every outfield player is being involved, and I feel that that's more responsibility that everyone wants to share. The so-called golden generation is a term that is given for a group of players that they really enjoy playing for the national team, and they want to take the nation as far as we can.
Okay, the next question.
Samaru from Kyodo News, Japan. Question in English. And how much attention were you paying to the Group H matches today? And can you tell us your impression of Japan and what you know about the Japanese team?
Well, as you know, we played a very good game, a very entertaining game in Bruges against Japan not long ago. I know it's been a change of coach since then, but it hasn't been a real change in the squad. I think it's a really dynamic team, very well organized, very structured. Technically, Japanese footballer is really strong, and we expect a really competitive game. I don't think there is a big surprises between the Belgium side and the Japanese side when they're going to be facing each other in Rostov-on-Don. But we do know them well. I'm sure they know us really well because of that game.
Okay, next question here, and then Yes, go please.
Paul Hayward, Daily Telegraph, speaking in English. Before the game, you said that winning wasn't a priority. So, do you feel you slightly lulled England into a false sense of what Belgium were going to do in this game? And also, did you have a plan to be, passive in the first half and then win the game in the second?
No, I think obviously we were very clear from the beginning that we felt that winning at all costs, it wasn't the case. It wasn't an option for us. It was trying to win. When you go into a football pitch, you have to try to win. This is the World Cup. This is a football game that you want players to have the right approach, the right mentality. And I think England tried to do the same. I'm sure that from a position that you could bring your captain on and try to push, that's completely different. But when the players are on the pitch, all they're trying to do is to score a goal, to defend well, and to try to win the football game. What was important for us is that we didn't go to this game just with the same 11 and try to win the game just to get the 9 points and get a good feeling and get a momentum. I said that before, that was going to be very, very wrong. We had to spread the responsibility in the group. We had to see who's ready. We had to see the competition for places. We had to see players that they were coming from injury situations. And that was the case. So the result, as a consequence of what we did, is welcome and is making us a stronger team. That's for sure. I don't know what England had planned to do. They made a lot of changes as well. I'm sure that they're gonna be getting their lessons and they know exactly what's that squad now after this game. And in terms of being passive or not, no, I think sometimes you need to be a little bit cautious about how you're going to break the opposition down. This is the first time we played at this. England plays a 3-5-2 system that hasn't been played in the World Cup. We haven't faced that sort of system. Maybe we are a little bit slow in finding the routes that we wanted to penetrate. But I think in the second half, at halftime, we adjusted a couple of things and we look a little bit more with an intent. But I would say that it is normal. When you make 9 changes at international level, you're going to get that sort of almost doubt. But I don't think that lasted too long.
Okay, yes, please.
Hello. A question from VG Norway. How do you analyze the path for Belgium now compared to the path England will go through in the next phases?
Yeah, the path is exactly probably from a logistics point of view for us. It was easier to stay in Moscow because the next game would have been in Moscow with an extra day of recovery. But the only thing that we are concentrating is playing Japan. And that's a reality. England will play Colombia. I think if you start thinking about who you could get in the next round, you've seen it that now making predictions in the World Cup can be a little bit difficult. Germany is out of the competition. I don't think many people could think that would be a possibility. We saw in the last 3 minutes of the game was decided that Spain were top of the group. We saw how close Argentina came. So I think this World Cup is very unpredictable and you need to look into yourself how strong you can be as a team. So we're not looking at paths. We're looking at see how we can contribute everyone together. And Japan now is the only priority that we have.
Just a second, wait for the translation. Okay, now, please.
Alors, Roberto, you've said before the tournament that after the 3 games, you will be able to tell what is your goal, what you can do in this tournament. So now, what can you do in this tournament?
Well, I can tell you that we are a team. I think when you push our group of players in the way that we did, you realize that we got a real good opportunity to almost show all the talent that we have in this group. We got an incredible desire from every player to contribute for the team, not in an individual manner. When you make 9 changes, I think you realize of that. We managed to win 3 games in a World Cup that you cannot just take for granted. I just think now we need to go step by step and we want everyone in Belgium be very, very proud of this team. I've seen a real feeling. I see something of that I haven't seen before. We arrive into the tournament. I think every player is really looking forward to be on that football pitch. And now I think we need to just go step by step, but thinking that we can face anyone that we got in front of us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that now with us is the the Belgian player Adnan Januzaj, who has been elected as the man of the match. Adnan, congratulations for this award, and he is ready to take a couple of your questions. But first, let's finish with the questions for coach, and then Adnan will have the chance to answer a couple of questions. Any questions for coach?
Вопрос на русском от местной калининградской прессы.
I come from the local Kaliningrad
Что вы
press.
ожидали от
This will be a
Кубка
question
мира в
in
России
Russian.
и что вы
What do you
увидели на самом
expect from
деле?
the World Cup
Уровень
in Russia
команд и
and what
уровень
have you found
инфраструктуры.
here? I'm asking about the level of the teams participating in the World Cup and the level of the infrastructure in Russia.
Very impressive. I've been involved in the last 2 World Cups directly and every day, in knowing the logistics, knowing the way that the organization works. I must admit this World Cup is by far the best that I've been involved. It's been incredible, the hospitality that we've been everywhere. I think it's been an organization that has surprised everyone. I think it's given an incredible image of Russian people, of Russia in general. You're looking at this stadium, a stadium built for 4 games, no cutting corners or looking for a second level job. It's been an impressive World Cup in terms of the infrastructure. And in terms of the teams, very well prepared teams. I think there is no secrets in modern football. I think every nation can have a lot of information about the players that they're going to be facing, the teams that they're going to be facing, the styles of play. And that's why the games have been so close. The small margins, probably they'll open up a little bit more in the knockout phases as we progress. But I think it's an impressive World Cup so far.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the last question for the coach. Thank you, Robert.
I'm very grateful and thank you very much, and hope to keep going.
Okay, let's take the first question here, please.
Lee Cormish, Post Media Canada. Adnan, such a great achievement to score for your country at the World Cup, and it's your first for the national side. I just want to hear from you. Please explain the emotion and the feelings you had when you seen the ball hit the back of the net.
I mean, for my first goal, there is no more great feeling than that. I was very pleased with that, and hopefully more to come in the future.
Okay, next question, please. Yes.
Yes. Danny Armstrong, RT Sport News. Adnan, congratulations on the performance and the goal. How important was that goal for you to score it, especially against England? I know some years ago people actually wanted you to play for the English national side. Of course, they were a little bit mistaken about your eligibility, and also to score against a side that has some players that you played with kind of at Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with that. Score a great goal against a good opponent. Obviously, my job was to show the people that in the past in England I had a lot of criticism, and now I wanted to show them people that I'm here, so I know I'm very happy with that.
Okay, next question, please.
Hi, Rob Harris from Associated Press. I mean, how do you reflect on your last years? You obviously had the Manchester United career, then you've had to rebuild and rediscover yourself, and now you've scored at the World Cup. How do you reflect on the journey you've made?
I mean, it's been with a lot of work. I've been putting a lot of work also. This year I've been playing in a team like Real Sociedad that makes me grow as a player. And at my age, 23, I think is the most important thing is to play games and to keep progressing. And I think that was the most important thing at the right stage for me. And now I'm doing this. I'm going that way, so I'm very pleased with that and hope to continue like this.
Okay, one more question for the player. No one? Okay, thank you very much.
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the last press conference of the evening with Team England coach Gareth Southgate. Please wait for the microphone and say who you are, who you represent, and we'll go straight to question and answers at the front, please.
Hello, John Cross, Daily Mirror. Gareth, what did you make of the game, and also, I guess, the outcome, what it might mean now, looking forward for the team?
Yeah, no, I thought the game was a really good test for us. We knew that the level of the game was going to be higher than we've had, even with both teams making changes. I think Belgium had controlled possession in their sort of mid to back third a lot more. We found that difficult to press, and it meant that we were at times chasing the game. But in terms of effectiveness and chances, probably fairly even in actual fact. So they've had a couple of goalmouth scrambles that were really from crossing situations or set plays. We've obviously had a couple of good chances on counter-attacks. So I think we'll have learned a lot from the game. Tactically, it's a good game for us to go back and review, because there'll be similar challenges with dealing with a pivot that we've got to get right. But our primary objective today was a mid-term one, really, and that was that we've got everybody time on the pitch, that they're ready now to start or come into a match in a better place, those that haven't played. Those that have played up to now, we've protected, and we have everybody to select from going into a knockout phase. So the other important thing was that we were going to be competitive right to the final whistle, and I think we did that. But trying to balance all of those objectives and win is very difficult. But sometimes I think you have to look bigger picture and make decisions that, might in some quarters be criticised. But I think everybody understands, and certainly everybody in the dressing room and in our group understands what we've tried to do.
Thank you. We'll stay at the front, please. Yeah, and then there. Just wait for the translation.
From the Sun. Gareth, is there any concern when you're deciding on this team selection whether players can lose any sharpness given maybe a 9-day gap, and whether a campaign can just lose momentum? That was the feeling, I think, after the Slovakia game in the Euros.
Well, with respect, in the Euros, I think we were only ahead for a few minutes of any of the games, and I think here we've played extremely well. We've played well in the games leading into it, and we've played well in the tournament. And tonight we've played okay. I don't think we've played poorly at all tonight. I think we know that depending on which players we pick in certain positions, we just have a different profile of threat. And we maybe didn't have as many runners in behind tonight, and we didn't have the link between the lines quite as well. But lots of good individual moments for all of the players, and a lot that we can learn from as well. So I think for us was a really good experience. We don't like losing. We don't want to lose matches. But the primary objectives we wanted from the evening we've got, and I understand that, you know, I think the supporters in the stadium understood that as well. You know, the level of support was brilliant throughout, and I think they could see we were still pushing till the end, but we wanted to do that in a way that, look, if we put Harry on for 10 minutes and somebody whacks him down his ankle, that would be ridiculous. So everybody knows that the most important game is the knockout game.
Thank you. Just a second, the translation, please. Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Gareth, Charlie White from The Sun. Were there any injury issues, John Stones, and any knocks to players that didn't play tonight? And finally, how lucky was Jordan Pickford that he was rescued by his teammate from what could have been quite an embarrassing mistake?
Well, I think Jordan made a couple of really important saves. I'll have to see the incident you're talking about back, because I've not seen it replayed. In terms of John Stones, the plan was always to share the minutes. We couldn't rotate everybody, but we wanted him and Harry Maguire to have 45 minutes. I thought they were both excellent, by the way. So, yeah, no injury concerns for John.
Thank you. Just move here, please, after translation. Thank you. Go ahead.
Matt Dickinson, The Times. Yeah, just quickly on the selection, was that an instant decision, rest everyone, and then moving on, do you accept that Colombia are the toughest team you could have faced out of that group, and how do you assess them?
Yeah, difficult. I mean, I thought Senegal would also be a very tough game in a different way. So I think all of that group, it was all up in the air. I mean, Colombia were behind the game because of the sending off in the first few minutes of their first game. They've got some outstanding individuals, but I believe it's a game we can win. And it's going to be a fantastic challenge for us. The numbers that they've got supporting them are clear. Some outstanding individual players, but you know, we feel that we're a team that are improving. I think that's shown again tonight, that we've still got levels to reach and that we still have work to do. But that's nothing we didn't know. And actually, that might also be another thing for us that isn't a bad thing. You know, if we win again tonight, then all of a sudden, I think the reality of where we are might not have been in people's minds. But we know where we are. We know how immaculate we have to be to win matches against the very best teams, and we've got those challenges to come. But that was our objective when we started the 3 matches. We achieved it. That allowed us to try and take as much of a competitive advantage as we could in the physical area. Whatever happens next week, that was the right decision as far as I'm concerned. You know, people will say, well, that will only be the right decision if we win. But it was the right decision because we'd be potentially going into another match that could go to extra time, and risking players that we didn't need to risk. So which half of the draw, who knows what's right or wrong. Our key is a knockout game that we're hugely looking forward to.
Thank you very much. Just one second. Thank you.
Thank you. A question in English from Xinhua News Agency. Good evening, Mr. Southgate. After the successful qualifications, we can see this young England team showed great talent and is in a growing process. So in your opinion, after 3 matches, at what stage is this team now, and what needs to improve in the knockout stage? Thank you.
Well, we are showing signs of being an exciting football team. I think even tonight, you know, brilliant experience for people like Trent, for people like Ruben to play in World Cup matches, and you know, both of them sort of 21, 19. You know, down that right-hand side of the pitch was a very inexperienced pairing, but they both showed some excellent moments, and so I think you've seen what we are. We are young, enthusiastic, energetic, improving, not finished article. You know, Belgium are third in the world for a reason, because they've played together for a long time. They've got some extremely experienced players even in the team tonight. So we've still got some work to do, but we're pretty realistic within our own camp about where we are. But we also have great belief in what we've been doing over the last few months, and we think tonight is a good experience. We don't want to lose, but again, we'll have learned a lot from tonight.
Thank you very much. Just one second. Thank you. Go ahead.
Jack Pitbrook from The Independent. You talked about balancing priorities and objectives this evening. Do you not feel that you have a responsibility to the fans, but also to the tournament as a whole, to have winning the game as your top priority for every single match?
Well, of course, we have a responsibility to the supporters, and the support in the stadium was absolutely outstanding tonight. And the support and the encouragement from home has been brilliant. But when you're a leader and you're a manager, you've got to make decisions that are right for your group and are right for the primary objective. And sometimes those decisions will be criticised, and I understand that, because only one person has to make that decision, and with all the full facts and all the intricacies of managing a group and managing a tournament. But you know, as a group of staff, we were very clear on what we felt that needed physically, medically, tactically, for the benefit of the group. We've got 20 outfield players now who've played in a World Cup. That's hugely important for the feeling in our camp over the next few weeks. And yeah, maybe we could have pushed a bit more by putting other players into the game tonight, but I think we've still created chances. We had one absolutely fantastic chance to tie the game. So I had to balance that. I know in some quarters that will be criticised, but I'm entirely comfortable with that. Sometimes you've got to make decisions for bigger picture, and that's what I did tonight.
Thank you. At the front, please. Just after translation.
Здравствуйте, Денис Костоглодов, Калининград.
Денис Костоглодов, Kaliningrad.ru. This is a question in Russian. Well, in Volgograd, you said that you knew the history of that city. Volgograd is former Stalingrad. Have you ever heard about Kaliningrad, and what can you say, well, having been here for some time?
Yeah, we know that the England fans have really enjoyed the visit here. Looks a beautiful city. Of course, when you're involved with the team, you don't have as much time to look around. But the parts I've seen were spectacular. The stadium, excellent. The atmosphere within the stadium was top. And our hotel and training facility was very good. So we haven't enjoyed losing, but we've enjoyed the experience of being here.
Thank you. With the last two questions, please, gentlemen there, and then one at the front. Just wait for translation, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Gareth, James Ollie from the Evening Standard. Leaving aside the first and second place aspect of this game, did those 90 minutes sort of crystallise your thinking about your best team for the knockout stage?
Well, I think what it allowed me to do was to see players that are now able to push for a starting place or have an impact in that game. And you know, there are some key moments for people like Danny Rose in particular, who's been really short of match minutes. So we know our squad inside out. We know where they are. We know the different sorts of strengths they have, the different problems they pose the opposition. We know the areas that we need to improve upon. We're very clear about where we are as a team, and we'll keep continuing to do that. And I know that has meant that tonight is a little bit flat, but 100% every player in that dressing room knows why we've done what we've done, and every member of staff exactly the same. We are through to the next phase. Bizarrely, we were through, and this was the most difficult game to strategize, really, because of all the potential knock-on effects of the decisions. So we had to do what we believed was the right thing, and okay, we haven't won the game tonight, but as I say, there are a myriad of other things that were involved in the decisions.
Thank you. Final question at the front, please, when translation's finished. Thank you.
From Post Media Canada. You mentioned winning important. You talked about Harry Kane coming on for a few minutes and getting injured. I'm having trouble understanding why over half of the starting 11 from the previous matches would be benched. And the second part of my question is, now that we're into the knockout stage, will you be practicing penalties?
Yep. So in terms of the changing the team so far, they had a game 4 days ago in extreme heat. We could have played them again tonight, no problem. But this afternoon already you saw Colombia lost a key player, Japan lost a key player, Senegal, had they gone through, had lost a key player. So that was a risk we didn't need to take. And I totally understand why people would question those decisions, but we've got to prepare the team in the way we feel right. We now have, rather than players don't get on the training ground for the next 2 days because they're recovering, we can start with something of a sort of gym session tomorrow, and the next day, we have players ready to start preparing for Colombia straight away. So for us, it was the best use of the competitive advantage we had. In terms of penalties, we've been practicing and going through strategies on them for, since March. We've done various different studies and had individual practice, and we'll obviously go through that in a little more detail now, but would have been too late to start that now, 3 days away from a game. So we're aware that the margins are going to be really fine in these knockout phases, and we've got to be prepared physically to go to extra time if needed, mentally to go to extra time, and to go beyond that if that's what it takes.
Great, thank you. On that note, thank you very much for your time this evening. And this is our last press conference in Kaliningrad. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the simultaneous interpreters who've done a tremendous job. Thank you very much indeed.